I see that some are suggesting that this revival is God's response to a myriad of cultural concerns, running the gamut from the overreach of the Biden administration to Rihanna's Super Bowl halftime performance. I saw one meme juxtaposing pictures of Sam Smith's Grammy performance with worshipers at Asbury University, with a misappropriated scriptural caption from Isaiah 59:19. When the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against him. Exaggeration aside, the response of some in the Christian community to the Asbury outpouring illustrates how we have been conditioned in America to interpret and respond to these reported renewals of the Christian faith. What these responses illustrate is that an overarching concern among American evangelicals is winning. When events such as what is happening at Asbury University is reported, they are often interpreted as evidence of a resurgent cultural dominance of Christianity. Another glaring example of this is the phenomenon of Fox News' Tucker Carlson wanting to take a camera crew to report on the events transpiring at the revival. To the university's credit, they declined his request, but I wonder if Carlson's curiosity would have been equally enthusiastic if this kind of spiritual resurgence was happening among marginalized groups instead of at a predominantly white Christian university. Another example of this desire to assert cultural relevance in America is with the repeated references to the personal Christian faith of many of the athletes that participated in this year's Super Bowl. While I certainly appreciate the faith of quarterbacks, linemen, receivers, and the like, I find it interesting what right-wing media chooses to celebrate and vilify. Given the fact that this Super Bowl featured two black quarterbacks leading their teams for the first time in the history of the National Football League's championship game, amplifying the Christian faith of the players comes off as somewhat self-serving. Many of these conservative networks actively ignored the treatment of Colin Kaepernick by the NFL for respectfully taking a knee in protest of police brutality against black people. Instead, they actively amplified the voices of those who condemned his actions and the cause for which he kneeled. This all reminded me of when I was a child and I saw an early illustration that attempted to describe the spiritual warfare that is the oft-repeated motif among Christian fundamentalists. The picture of Jesus and Satan laboring over a chessboard. Satan is contemplating his next move while Jesus looks on confidently. The chess pieces were illustrated as actual humans that were either yielding to the desires of Christ or the deception of the devil. The trope is excessively repeated in numerous Christian songs, books, movies, sermons, and morality plays. It perpetuates the false idea that somehow Christ and Satan are evenly matched in a battle of wits and strength, with individual actions being the deciding factor in who wins the eternal struggle. I don't think the omnipotent Savior of the world needs my help in defeating Satan. In fact, my understanding of the biblical narrative convinces me that Christ is already victorious. Jesus isn't in need of a third great awakening for validation, nor does he need the endorsement of Patrick Mahomes to remain king. Those in need of this kind of cultural vindication are those who seek earthly power and influence, and most often in America, those who wish to exercise political and economic influence over others. The behavior of American evangelicals is increasingly at odds with the biblical Jesus. Jesus consistently and actively avoided the endorsement of social elites and went out of his way to offend them. Jesus told those he healed not to tell anyone, and on the occasions when he did attract a crowd, he would send them away by delivering uncomfortable truth, refusing to acquiesce to their demands or quietly just walking away while they argued about his relevance. Imagine this kind of behavior from anyone in the consumer-driven Christian celebrity industrial complex of today that occupies many sectors of America and around the world.